Everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the show. It's nice to see you. To everyone watching in America, it's nice to see your beautiful faces. And to everyone who tunes in from out of the country, even a bigger welcome to you. We welcome everyone here. So the subject matter of today's video is going to be, I always get to be the bearer of good news when I get to break this to our clients, which is that your mortgage payment is paid in arrears. That means after the fact, okay? And I'm going to give you a little bit of breakdown of what that means, because typically when you're buying a home, this is something you're like, oh, that's cool, I didn't know that, and that's good news. So before we do all that, hey, subscribe to the channel. Drop us a comment, especially when we're in these baby infancy stages of the channel. All those early subscribers, you're my ride or dies, and we'll go to battle together, everyone. So there's that. If you actually need real estate help, you can always ask us your questions. We're pretty friendly, and we actually operate in a lot of different places. So you can just go to 1911syndicate.com. Based here in Utah, we have a lot of different agents that we partner with in different areas. So rock and roll on that, everyone. Now, as mentioned, mortgage payments are paid in arrears, and that's just a very fancy word that means after the fact. So it is a very nice perk of buying a house. So let's just look at it compared to rent. So you go rent an apartment, and it's August 15th when you go rent that apartment. On August 15th, you're going to be cutting your landlord a rent check for the 15th through the 30th, or 30, for what is it, 35, 30, not, definitely not 35 days in August, 31 days in August. So you're going to be cutting him a rent check for basically a prorated rent month, right? So you're going to owe 2 weeks of August rent. Going to be totally different when you buy a house. Now, if you buy that house, and let's just say that you close, you get your keys, you sign all your final documents on August 15th, your first mortgage payment is actually going to be on October 1. So what it's going to be is your first mortgage payment is going to occur on the first, after the first full month that you live in your house, condo, townhouse, whatever it may be. AKA, hey, look, you move in on August 15th, you close on August 15th. Cool. The first full month that you're living there is September. Therefore, October 1 is actually going to be when you make your first payment. And this is really good news. Most first-time buyers are surprised to learn this. They're like, oh, that's super cool. And I always, a couple of positive things that it gives you. One is it gives you a little buffer zone typically between when your rent might expire, and hopefully you're getting back like a security deposit or something like that, and when your mortgage payment starts. Because typically if you go buy your house, especially if it's first house, right? And candidly, we have a lot of first-time buyers. We just have a younger demographic that we tend to work with. There's going to be some things that you need to get, like washer, dryer, fridge, could be, any number of things, could be some repairs that have to be done. So it's nice to have that little bit of cushion zone of, 1 to 2 months, right? When you can maybe save up a little bit of cash to buy some of those things that you weren't really necessarily braced for when you started the notion of buying a house. So that's good. It also gives us a little bit of leeway, because I always tell our guys, look, we're going to try to time this so that if you are renting a place and now you're going to be buying a place, let's try to time it so that you have a little bit of a buffer window, right? So like if your lease on your apartment runs out at the end of August, cool, let's try to close on your house 2-3 weeks before that, because in reality, you're still going to wind up skipping a month of a mortgage payment, right? So you're not going to have rent or a mortgage payment for a month. So, hey, look, you can go ahead and move into your house, have a little buffer between needing to be out of your apartment right here, right now, and into your house. It just logistically winds up a little bit cleaner. There is, however, no free ride, and that is a bit of a rule of life, and it applies here. So at closing, right, when you're signing all that thick stack of documents at closing, you are going to have some prepaid interest, okay? So what's going to happen is that month that you're closing, you're going to pay prepaid interest. So if we just go back to our example, let's just say it's August 15th and you're signing all your documents. Great. Inside of your closing costs, which is going to have a few different, we'll do a video on that at some point and kind of a breakdown of what everything that's in there, because it is a little bit confusing to the best of us. But hey, there's things like loan origination fees. And one of the things that's going to be in there is prepaid interest. So hey, whatever the interest that accumulates on that loan between August 15th and August, I believe it's 31st, not 30th, you're going to pay that at closing. Okay, so it's just going to be a one-time, your closing cost is going to be like, hey, this is the amount that you need to bring to closing between your down payment, your closing costs. Let's just say your closing costs are $5,000. Cool. Within that $5,000 is going to be that 15, 16 days worth of interest that accrues on your mortgage. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. So if you close later in the month, that's going to be less prepaid interest. This is all, there's no right or wrong answer on this, but just know that, hey, look, if you close on your house on August 5th, your first mortgage payment is still going to wind up being October 1, but your closing costs are going to have 25 days worth of prepaid interest in it, versus if you close on your house on August 29th, hey, your first mortgage payment still going to be October 1 actually, but you're only going to have like 1 or 2 days of prepaid interest. So, hey, is there a right or wrong answer? Not really. It just depends. Like, hey, you might pay more prepaid interest, but you have a longer gap before your first mortgage payment starts, or you might pay less in prepaid interest, but it's closer to only like, 30, 35 days before your mortgage payment starts. So look, there's no right or wrong answer. It's to each their own. A lot of that, truthfully, is just going to line up with like, when did you wind up under contract on a house? Because you can't always predict that. You go, man, I'd really like to, close at the end of a month. That way I don't have a lot of prepaid interest. Cool, but it's like, look, we can't really predict ultimately when you're going to get an accepted offer. So it's just a little bit, we can't predict the future. So it's like, hey, we do our best to accommodate, but that's just kind of the reality of the situation. So again, no right or wrong answer. It's just, your flavor, whatever works for you. More cash out of pocket or delay your mortgage payment longer, just, up to you. So anyway, everyone, hope that helps. I hope that made sense. I even as I was talking, I was borderline confusing myself, but that's also just the net effect of a late podcast last night with a healthy dose of the old bourbon, which is why Jake's sipping on some good old-fashioned H2O during the show today. So hope that helped. Hope it made sense. Comment below if you have any questions. Always happy to answer them. And even on the mortgage side, if you guys ever need help, we've got a couple lenders that we work with that work nationwide. So happy to point you guys in the right direction on that. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.